Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
In the fall prep sports season, well, even the collegiate season kind of starting to wrap up here a little bit. We'll start it off with high school football. Shout out to Owen Withey, 8-player state champions. So
Terry Lau will be doing it again. Did it in the 11-man a couple times. Now doing it if the 8-player.
Yeah.
Just good for that team. I mean, that was controversy a couple of years ago where they weren't eligible for the playoffs. Had a great season.
Yep.
That team just carried it on, and probably carried it on for the seniors of that class. And to come out there, great football going on in the 8-player, and we had Thorpe in the title game last year, and you have Owen Withey this year. So Terry Lau, and I could sit and listen to Terry Lau talk for. He's just such a fun interview, and congrats to that team.
I think Brandon noted too on Twitter, because he was actually at the game, watching as a fan. But he said, I believe he is the first coach in Wisconsin State football history to win an 11 and 8-player state title too. So,
good for him.
Yeah.
And I don't know what his Hall of Fame status is, but he's got to be getting close if he's not in already. I mean, because to have that many titles, 4 titles now, that's impressive. And
that's
doing
Hall of
it
Fame
for
worthy.
Now 30 years. His first title I think was 92. If he was the coach on that was the first year that Owen Withey won the title, so it was 92. So 32 years later,
right?
That's just impressive. Hats off to that team.
Absolutely. So 11-player football. We'll start state championships on Thursday and then finish up on Friday. But we've got Baldwin-Woodville going. We've got Rice Lake going. Kind of in our immediate area. I know we got a little familiarity with Edgar and Stratford also going.
Yep.
Stratford's going again.
Grantsburg as well. Another team that been in their area a lot too.
Exactly. So got a little representation. But Rice Lake, man, D2, no problem for them.
I don't think people understand how tough of a road that is to go from one division to the next division and have a target on your back because you're a champion. You're a state champion.
Right.
And they played some tough games. Even start out of the gate in their first round game. It was Monona Grove, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for them to make this run, Dan Hill doing such a great job with that team, and now got a chance for back-to-back state titles. And I don't know the stats of winning from one division to a next back-to-back years, but got to be pretty rare.
Yeah.
That's rarefied air for this Rice Lake team. So, and another chance for a title for a team that's been there a few times in the past decade. Just hats off to that program.
I know Edgar defeated Boyceville, and that was a really close game going down to the end there.
Boyceville, last year, Edgar ended their season, and I think it was level 3. Level 4, Edgar at 1 point, an extra point. And kudos to that kicker for that. I mean, extra points in high school football are never anything that you're like, okay, this is going to happen for sure.
Right.
So Edgar's Sins does a great has such a great program. Again, another team that's at state a lot.
Yep.
But Boyceville, I mean, they're right there, and they return a lot of those same players. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 graduating big time skilled players on that. So that team next year, I think, is going to be the one that you're going to see a spotlight on, and then probably going to end up with another matchup with Edgar. So you hope it's like you build up, you lose that one, you get a little closer the next year, and then. But yeah, for the Bulldogs, fine season, nothing to shake your head. I mean, losing to Edgar is. A lot of teams have done it. A lot of great teams have done it. So, just a tough way to end it, but get that close.
Exactly. I know, was it a couple when you were over state volleyball? Did you actually go check a Baldwin-Woodville playoff game? I mean, for them, 40-16 in a game to go win to go to the state championship.
That team, that offense is just something that it just clicks. Like they can run it, they can pass it. They were when I was it was the Freedom game, and they were down 14-0, and I'm like, this might be it was looking more like they gave up the touchdown. They went for it on 4th down, gave up the ball, and then Freedom scored again. I'm like, oh, this might be over by halftime because they just like Freedom, and then just something clicked on that offense, and then it was like they scored 28-4. They outscored them 28-14 the rest of that half, and then in the second half just took control. So Kiefer's got that team playing like a well-oiled machine, and like you say, to go 40-16 in level 4.
Yeah,
it's they have Slinger. Is that who they?
I think it was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it's gonna be a tough road at state, as anybody is gonna be.
Or no, they play. Racine St. Catherine's.
Yeah. Okay. Racine. Sorry, I'm getting my my teams mixed up here. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. But, hey, for that team to play as well, a middle border team, which we've seen a lot of great middle border teams go down to state and have success. Right. Yeah, this team offensively, I think if they could do what they've done the last season, I want to say playoffs, but like last round even.
Exactly.
They're going to be a fun team to watch out on the turf there at Camp Randall.
College-wise, Blue Gold football season is over with after falling to Whitewater at Carson Park. But Stout, I mean, again, they fell. They had a chance to, if they would have beat Platteville, to share a conference title. But, I mean, it was a close game, and actually Stout, they got one more game because they're going to the Culver's Isthmus Bowl.
Yeah.
Going to be going up against Wheaton. But this year, I think Stout, from what they were able to do, a lot of close, even their losses were really close, but some big-time wins. I think caught a lot of people off guard a little bit this year,
yeah,
right?
I think so. I think a lot of the, if you looked at the prognosticators in the beginning of the season, would not have had Stout battling for a conference title, but Lake Birmingham got the most out of that team. And, I mean, that's a team that could easily, they were so close, and even their losses were close.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they get this extra game. It's nice to have that Isthmus Bowl. I wish it was called the Butterburger Bowl, but
I know, right?
it would be fun. But I'll take Isthmus Bowl too. But yeah, for them to get that extra game, that's great for them, and that just shows you where it's really a good recognition for a team that worked their butt off and came very close to as stacked and close as the WIC's been in years for football. So yeah. Good job, Clayton, that team, and see what they can do this weekend against
Wheaton.
Wheaton, thank you. The Wheaton Golden Gus. No, that's Gustavus. What is Wheaton?
The
Thunder.
Thunder, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I've been there. When I was in college, I did like an NCAA tournament soccer game there. But, yeah, just inside baseball has nothing to do with this, but I'm just trying to remember the name of the team.
Well, you said soccer, and you watched some soccer with the Blue Golds.
Yes.
OT thriller. And the Blue Golds get the win. They advance to the Sweet 16, and home field advantage continues because UW Eau Claire is going to be hosting the next two rounds. And they're going up against a familiar opponent, too, in Platteville that they've had some good matchups with.
Yeah, I mean, what a game on Saturday. They were knocking on the door the whole time, and it's one of those games where you have one couple of saves that just knocked it out, and you're like, okay, then on overtime they have one that goes right off the post and doesn't go in, and you're starting to think, oh no, is this one of those games where you just can't put it in and the other team's going to find a way? And they almost did. They came back and nearly scored after that one that went off the post, but keeper made the save, and then they, in the second overtime, I mean, they were getting them. They were right on the door, and then they get the first header's denied, the second header goes in, and then you're celebrating. And what an atmosphere there at Simpson Field, and they get another game for sure, and hopefully two more game or another game after that if they can get the win on Saturday against Platteville. So Casey Holm just continues to keep that program on just the great trajectory, and now making the Sweet 16.
That's
sixth round of 16. I probably can't say that legally or whatever.
It's just we've talked about this program to where it was just freshman in its infancy just a few years ago. And they've continued to get better every single year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's truly one of the, in the last few years, I think, and especially in our area, one of the more impressive jobs sports-wise that we've seen to, for one, because I talked to a couple players from the soccer team last week for our Rolling with the Golds podcast, and they were part of the first team,
right? Their keeper, part of the first team, and then the guy who scored is a freshman. So it's like a perfect mixture there.
Exactly. And it's like, well, what were the expectations when you come in? It's first year program and all that, and a lot of us like, hey, we knew we were going to get playing time right away, and that's true when you think about it. But then to just continue to get better every single year, and I know they got to be chomping at the bit to be going up against Platteville again at home this time too. That's going to be a heck of a game. Heck of a game. And I hope just that group for, how they started to where they're at now to get to can we say Final Four, the last four, whatever they wanted to say over there. But that would be
a little bit of cold for, not frozen, but
right.
If it was like Saturday.
Exactly.
Cold.
Yeah. That would just be, so cool for that group, for that
it really
group of kids.
Be.
I mean, and Coach Casey, too. What a fantastic job he's done for that unit. So
and the fans came out in great support there, and I should get even. I feel like it's gonna be even bigger on Saturday and Sunday. So I watch with awe of how they've started and just been like you said, started at a high level and have just gotten better and better every year.
I don't know how like Banks, the goalkeeper Banks over there. I asked him like, how when you get to these games, like I was thinking about that when I was watching your updates and it's like OT and it's scoreless. Like I'd be just a nervous wreck if I'm a goalkeeper.
Yeah, that's what I asked him after the game too.
Yeah. And I don't know what he said to you, but he told me he's like, yeah, he just kind of blacks out during the game. Sort of thing. Like he doesn't just goes in and trusts his. I'm like, I would be like overthinking everything.
Oh, me too.
And that. But
and that's what I said. I was like, as somebody who's never been in that position,
right?
Like if I'm a person like steps over and has a chance for a birdie putt from 5 feet, I'm the least clutch person.
Right.
These guys just like they were confident though, because they had been on the doorstep the whole time. They were just like it was just a matter of time. We felt, but you never want to go to PKs,
right?
Because that's a whole different world. If you don't. And that they were 4 minutes away from going to PKs, and that changes the whole dynamic there.
Yeah,
because then it's just one-on-one. So I think them getting that goal, I think, I mean, it couldn't have worked out more perfectly, but I'm sure for me, even watching up there, it's like, what's going to happen here? And just the composure they all showed.
I'm thinking of like Mighty Ducks D2 when they had to get in that shootout at the end. That Julie the Cat's, I don't know if you've seen D2.
Oh, I've seen them all. I've seen them all.
It's like that's already kind of, nerve-wracking there. So, before I let you go, though, did you watch Paul Tyson?
Oh, man. I wish I hadn't.
It
turned into everything I thought it would be.
Yep.
They threw punches for 30 seconds, and then it's just dance around. Like every one of these high-profile dream matchups or whatever you want to call them have been back to the Pacquiao Mayweather. After the first fight, it just becomes we're here to make millions of dollars, give a show, which wasn't even a show.
No,
and I felt I had hopes that maybe this Tyson would come out there and just try to. But again, it
sucked us in.
No one wants the Paul brothers out there.
No.
And there's no more punchable faces in the world than the Paul brothers. And here they are. They have the stranglehold on boxing right now. And they're not real matches.
No. And that's where, I admit it before, but I was like, I was falling in to the nostalgia.
Right.
And I'm like, I just want it to go back.
We've watched Rocky Balboa.
Right. This was the Rocky Balboa movie played out, the sixth Rocky that played out. But it's like, even like watching Evander, the production was, I don't know if you were watching like some of the undercard stuff, and they had like Lennox Lewis and Evander on there. Evander couldn't hear the people talking, so they had to ask Lennox to ask Evander Holyfield a question for them. I'm like, what are we doing here?
This is not a good debut for Netflix. And, they've got Monday Night Raw starting in the new year.
Well, then they got Christmas football games coming up, too.
True, that, too.
So
they've done plenty of live stuff. It's not like this is the first live thing. They've been doing live stand-up stuff forever. Yeah. But I guess it's a little different when there's a lot more production going into this. But
maybe trying to fill in time, I was not impressed.
Well, then there was Morrow, who's one of the great, I love as a play-by-play announcer, knowing that Tyson has the biting fixation and having the answer, and Roy Jones asking the same question 25. Like that was it just got to a point where it was just so cartoonish, and it's just like we can't. Boxing, as a kid who grew up watching boxing with his dad, Tuesday night fights on USA back in the day, and the ESPN fights.
Yep.
These aren't boxing matches. They're exhibitions, and that's what we got. And it's just sad that this is what the big time boxing.
Yep.
When there are actual talented boxers out there who deserve the spotlight more than this.
Completely agree. I mean, even like it was after the first undercard, I think, to just kind of wrap it up here, when Evander was on there, I think one of the people, they even asked him just one of the most ridiculous questions. Think Tyson's going to bite his ear? Like, why would you ask that?
Right.
I get Evander's there now, but come on. I mean, really? Just dumb. It was dumb.
Yeah, it was the lowest common denominator boxing. And it's just unfortunately where I think we're at with boxing in this day and age, because your biggest stars are YouTube stars who know how to make money. If there's one thing the Paul brothers know how to do, is make money.
Exactly.
And they've made a ton of it, and they made more off of all of us. The only nice thing is like we all had Netflix subscriptions, so we didn't have to pay for it.
I didn't pay for it.
That's
yep.
the only thing is I didn't shell out $50 to watch that match. It'll only just go and they keep hiking up the prices because to put on productions like that, to pay NFL rights. Yeah,
exactly. All right, dude, we appreciate it. I know we're going to be off next Monday, so have a very good Thanksgiving.
You too.
With you and the fam, safe travels. I know you guys will be doing some travels too. So, well, hopefully we'll catch up in a couple weeks here too. But I think the next time we talk to you, we'll have 2 games in maybe. Yeah,
that's true.
We'll have 2 games in here.
We'll have to just really break it down.
Right, exactly.
And then for all you golfers out there, today is probably it.
Good. That's your PSA
yes.
for the morning.
For you won't hear me talk about golf. To my wife, I'm coming home.
That's awesome. That's so cool. We appreciate you, buddy.